Hi Gemini, here's a general look at your solar chart for June 2014. May I wish you a happy birthday if you haven't had your birthday already. And the sun is in your sign. That's a powerful time for you. It's a time to take stock, have a review, go over, ideally go over the last year and ponder and consider. But also, this is a time when the sun energy radiates very strongly through you, and it kind of, in some weird way, clears the way for you to get on with the things that are close to your heart or your certain aims and goals, and anything that for you just feels spontaneous and empowering, really. Until the 17th, conversations tend to have a practical slant. From the 7th, your ruling planet, Mercury, will be retrograding. So that does tend to hold things up. So after that's from the first week, the end of the first week onwards, it can just be little snags or maybe crossed wires, or something just hasn't arrived in the post or the mail that you've been waiting for, or you haven't heard back from that person, or indeed you yourself are procrastinating. It can be a little bit like that. Schedules are a kind of out of sync, that sort of thing. But in general, where the Mercury transit is happening until the 17th is about basic stuff. It's not so much about the whys, but it's about the how-tos. And this is to do with improving the budget, the piggy bank, but also thinking about others in a physical, from a physical standpoint, and their needs and requirements, thinking about yourself as well. And can be indirectly related to diet, exercise, but also negotiations, buying, selling, renting, leasing, anything like that could be on your mind, or simply that you're wanting to get your hands on stuff, or you're wanting to ditch stuff, or you're wanting to maintain or protect stuff. So it's very much about stuff. And then now until the 24th, Venus is transiting quite a background area of your chart. So you're maybe keeping your feelings to yourself, keeping your cards closer to your chest, and putting yourself out more as a support for others. In fact, there's quite a lot in your chart in general about just being there for others due to the transit of Neptune over the career area of your chart, and that one is going to go on for several years, but it will be shifting through the degrees. So it will be spotlighting certain degrees over certain months, and it'll be moving on away, and then that'll be spotlighting different parts of your sign. However, I have to say that even a long transit like that, which stations, as it were, on different parts of different birthdays in your sign, it does affect the whole sign, but one feels it mostly where it's actually sitting, and I'll talk about that in a little bit in a moment. But just up until the 24th, Venus is in this sort of hidden away little escape pod area, this little chrysalis area. So within that area, something can be kind of simmering, like a slow cooker, going on in the background, and it can be very creative as well. It can be very spiritual, it can be very healing. But another way that we can interpret this one is that you have to be there as a supporter, a facilitator for somebody else. And maybe in some cases those somebody else's are not really aware of how much you've had to put on one side of your own plans to do that for them. But during this time, it's a good idea to immerse yourself in something, to have a little bit of an escape act to yourself, to just be doing things that absorb you and take you out of it in a way. And things which really feed you on very deep levels. Just a couple of mentions about that Venus transit is if you might feel as though there's a little bit more demand on you on the 12th, so try not to plan anything too important on that day there. But also there's a lovely energy going across the 16th and the 17th where you could be expanding and thoroughly enjoying splashing out maybe, or seeing things that delight the eye and have you thinking speculatively about how, maybe resetting your priorities on something. Now, from the 17th, Mercury comes into your sign and is going backwards into your sign, though. So very much you're in the stream of information exchange. You've got a lot on your mind probably then, and you've got a very lively mind anyway, Gemini. But here you're going to have to get your head around certain things, and it's all about connections. It's connectivity. Because Mercury rules the nervous system, and it also rules the internet and everything that goes through wires anywhere in the world. But also it does rule the mental processes as well, and the creative self-expression. So any of that can be, any or all of that can be emphasized in your life during that time there. However, you might feel a bit scattered. So you need to engineer downtime for yourself throughout the whole of the month, I would say. And, just take yourself off somewhere. And from the 17th, probably certain ideas will be a bit vague. Things will be a bit ambiguous. You won't have the clarity that you would prefer, but you'll be getting that in the next month, July. From the 21st, finance is good. Property or anything affects your material security or well-being is going to be having your attention. So it could be in that same area that I was talking about with Mercury, and that is material security, but also possessions, property, and you can be just looking to see how you can improve things in a practical sense. And these can be very, very small things, or it can be something big, like a large chunk of property or the finances or whatever. From the 24th, Venus then comes into your sign, so that's a good one. And you then feel more outgoing and sociable. You feel clear about what your feelings are and what you want, maybe in a relationship, or maybe it's to do with a negotiation, a deal of some kind. Maybe it's something else completely, but it tends to be a sensing, feeling energy rather than a logical, I've worked it out, this is the plan energy. And Venus also rules money and other material resources of all kinds, possessions, property. So she tends to balance things wherever she goes, but she can stack the cards in your favor that you do quite well out of a deal there, no matter whether it's what it's about. Until July, Mars is in a very spontaneous area of your solar chart, and for some it's a romantic sector, giving you the trigger to be more in the mood to take a chance on love, or to be more competitive, more speculative in some way, in a creative way, in an innovative kind of a way, and could put you sort of center stage, could make you feel like all eyes are on me, little old me, and also make you feel the responsibility that comes with that. But on the other hand, it might not be like that. It might be that it's simply you get the chance to be more impulsive and spontaneous with your creative self-expression. It's kind of more fun, and that child within comes out. However, this Mars transit has been so long that one of a number of ways, or rather various ways that Mars can manifest in that very creative area there, which is also about romance and speculative projects and investments and creativity of all kinds. It's very good news for the creatives among you, I must say. And also to beat the drum on something, to let others know you're there with whatever this creative stuff is about for you. And you Geminians born in the second decanate or with 9 to 19 degrees rising are going to feel that energy the most this month. Just a word though about Mars moving forwards, which Mars started to do on the 19th of May, meaning that there could be a little bit more tension there, simply because of the angle that Mars is at in relation to Uranus and Pluto, and you may have to struggle with someone's, you may have differences with somebody else's value structure, right? Doesn't sit well with your own, or their way they prioritize, or the way they think, or the way they do something. And depending on the situation and the underlying natal chart energies that you have, it will possibly send you off in a direction you hadn't thought of, or maybe in a way that you hadn't thought of. So it's kind of sort of a really kind of innovative, fresh, even inspiring feel there. But it needs for you to be very adaptable, which of course you can do with both hands tied behind your back, Gemini. So, so no probs, as they say. Saturn is transiting a service-orientated area of your solar chart until the end of the year. This is the very long-running one from Saturn starting in October 2012. And this is the stitch in time transit. It comes around once in that area there every 29 years. And this just means, you know, shoulder to the wheel. I mean, head down, you know, for a full house, as it were, you know, just get going with it. Get organized, get your act together, get yourself in gear. And it is a time for plugging away at things and be learning along the way, you know, learning more practical, useful ways of doing things, whether that's for the job or whether that's just you being of assistance and helping others. This is you as the servant. This is you as the humble servant as well. This transit of Saturn here, and couple that with where Neptune is, then these two very long transits, although Neptune's many more years than Saturn. Saturn will be out of there by the end of the year, except for very late Geminians. Then you know, you are there as the enabler sometimes, in fact probably more times than of late, the facilitator, the bridge for others. And you have, as long as you work a little bit harder on your own boundaries, I have to say, because it will just seem like sometimes there's not enough of you to go round. It can feel a little bit like the old woman who lived in the shoe, who had so many children she didn't know what to do. It can be a little bit like that for you. But remember to respect and honor your own goals in life and integrate the practice of the higher service towards others, or it can be just higher service in the way that you feel it and know it's almost like something you're devoted to, something which is almost like a vocation for you, and that can be anything at all. And Neptune does lend itself best to the arts, anything to do with the arts, anything to do with the hospitality industry, or sort of providing a service in just a myriad of ways. But it's not the actual it's not the actual role that you play so much as where you're coming from in that role. And then Neptune here is asking you not to be thinking of your own success and your own desires and goals, but really trying to put the common good as center stage there. And this is just the deal with Neptune in this position. But it works better with in some sort of ways than others. I mean, in more charitable ways, in more heart-based ways, in more artistic ways, healing ways, and in ways which have got, they're not self-centered at all, really. No, sorry, they're not. But you can, as I say, with the Saturn transit, you can be very successful if you just keep plugging away at, you know, the technology, the equipment, the people that you've got to be working with. Or if you're on a job market, you just keep plugging away at that and slowly cultivating and climbing up and up and up and up and up. And that's the way Saturn works. And that's it for, where are we, June. And if you know your rising sign or your moon sign, then listen to the forecast for those. That should throw a different light on what I've said here. And it's all written up on my website if you're interested, and maybe with a few dates on there that I didn't give when I was doing this version. And anyway, I hope that has been enlightening, and I'll see you the next time.